Welcome to the show. It's Lady Nora Madonna here on Firebird FM 98.6 Spirit Radio. Brand new show for you. This one goes out to my friend Robin, who I have been having a Mercury retrograde experience lately. Mercury retrogrades are where the people in our lives that we haven't heard from in a while come forward again. And this time I am the one, I guess, apparently, who has come forward. So I've been getting flashes of my friend in my head over the past couple of days randomly for no good reason that go nowhere. So my natural inclination is to reach out to that person and say, what the fuck is going on? Anything? Hi, how are you? And so I did that. And he was fine, everybody. But we reconnected. And he has this sort of degenerative disease that he is attempting to figure out. And he is going now to an astrologer, doctor/astrologer, to begin alternative approaches to figure out how to diagnose this disease, because traditional medicine, Western medicine at this point has failed him for whatever reason, cannot identify what the cause is. So he's going to another source, and he is struggling because this man is a Capricorn, for one thing, and also comes from a very skeptical point of view, which is where I came from in my past. I've also been an incredible skeptic. I've been subscribed to Scientific American for many years. I used to read Skeptic magazine. At one point, my favorite book was Carl Sagan's Demon Haunted World, and now I am in the demon haunted world with I'm clutching my crystals and making prayers and meditations into the night. I am living in complete anathema of the way I used to be when I was a young adult, and the way I saw the world, which was very materialistic in nature. That is to say that it is constructed out of real physical material. And I think for people who want to move away or feel the need to move away from a skeptical point of view of the world and move into a spiritual relationship with the world, that is to say, to alter your perspective of what is existent in the cosmos and what is possible within it, so that it includes more than just the constraints of the material upon our physicality, upon the cosmos. You know what I'm trying to say there? That was so weak. That was so weak. Let's get grounded for a moment. I've had to work on my grounding a lot lately. I went to Mount Shasta on July 4th as part of a road trip, me and my friend. And it was a transcendental experience, which I am trying to write about so I can tell you about it, you folks here on YouTube as well. It's a very, I think, major experience of my life, and I want to talk about it. But as I came down, I went down to the mountain of Shasta the next day, to the town of Shasta the next day, and I saw this psychic woman who was there at a festival. They were having a July 4th festival, so I got a reading from this woman, Karen, who I didn't know what. She was just doing psychic readings, so I was like, let's do one. I've never had a psychic reading before. It's like not specifically any kind of methodology that she was claiming to utilize. Usually you have tarot readers or somebody doing, human design or astrology or whatever, but she was just sitting there and just feeling her way through the experience, which I thought was rather fascinating. So I wanted to see what she felt in me. And one of the things, she sort of just went through a trance-like meditation almost a hypnosis, where we start to identify aspects of the body that are energetically out of alignment, and then through the mental process of imagining them, bring them into alignment, into some sort of metaphorical alignment of concepts that are in our head that we are imagining mapped over the energetic body. So I did that with her, and she told me that I have this innate capacity to kind of lift off. In my thinking, I do tend to disappear up into the sky, into the clouds, and I'm just thinking all I'm just running my wheels with thought. And I have never been a very grounded human being. I do not have much earth in my astrological chart. There are not very many earth placements. I am a Cancer, but I'm very much an air sign trine, and I am just like floating up into space all the time with my own thoughts and ideas. And she said I needed to be grounded, and I'm like, yeah, I keep trying that. Imagine my connection to the ground. And she's like, no, that's not enough ground. She's like, you need a football field of grounding. Imagine a football field around you and your energy attaching to that and going and just holding on against the lift-off capacity of my, psyche. So I've been learning how to utilize that new skill set of actually grounding myself. So this is a tool for grounding. To allow this vibration to synchronize your mind down into a more rested, grounded state. That doesn't sound rested and grounded to you. It is to me. So we might be at different frequencies. Concept that I want to talk about here is the idea of, which is somewhat controversial and has problematic possibilities within it. So it's a delicate concept to approach, which is that, are we in some way fated to have disease? Is it in our chart? Is it in some sort of mental process? And what are the ramifications of that, if it is? And can we then utilize that to heal? And how do we approach it in an ethical manner so that we are not dismissive of people if for some reason their psychological condition has caused them to have a manifestation of a disease, which I'm not saying is in anybody's case. I'm just bringing it up as the ethical possibility. All right, so that's the concept. Let's get into it. Ground yourself. One thing that I found very helpful as I moved from this space of the skeptic, the one who believes that there is a scientific explanation for all phenomena observable in the universe. Everything must be explained by discernible, measurable, observable, and repeatable processes. Okay? That is what science is stating. Versus a spiritual approach where more things are possible than that. One may manifest your own reality. Astrological positions in the sky have real effects upon our physical condition, our state here in this world. There are some effects of some higher mode of being, some higher dimension of being has its effect upon this seemingly physical world. And one way to move from those states of the skeptic to the more spiritually receptive state of mind is to address the very physical nature of reality itself and start to mentally break that down, because it isn't necessarily true. It is a kind of ideological assumption in our experience of the world and in our cultural discussion of it that reality is physical in nature. It has a physicality to it. Things exist and they have effects upon me, and they're out of my control in a lot of ways. I didn't make these things, they just exist here. They are objectively existent out of material substance. But we know, even scientists know, people who have that scientific mindset and have been following quantum mechanics for a long time, know that at the bottom of our new conceptualization of what reality is, there is no physical object. Quantum mechanics does not describe a physical object. It describes events occurring in space. Intersections of forces or fields or whatever. Everything is fundamentally vibrational, fundamentally energy, and we don't even know what that is. We can't really explain what energy or vibration is. But we do know that it's not material in nature. It doesn't have a hard, fast, existent possibility, and in fact, it can be in multiple places at any one time. It can travel backwards and forwards in space. It can have non-local effects in space. These things can do very strange things, and we don't really know why. And yet, for some reason, we hold on to a very physical skepticism about the nature of reality, that surely reality is this that we have already observed, and we have used our best human methodologies to discern as true. Certainly this is real. But we already know at the edge of that it's not really true. Actually, there's nothing physical. And at the quantum scale, events are occurring stochastically. They're stochastically following laws. They're not deterministically following laws. They're following laws of reality because sometimes that's what happens. The majority of the time, probabilistically, what we are observing is that most particles follow the laws of physics, but some don't. Pretty weird sometimes. So, there's nothing fundamentally that we can point to in the material nature of reality. It just doesn't exist. So just get rid of that. Just get rid of that altogether. All right, we're done. Thank you very much for your time. We have learned a lot from our experience of material, objective reality, but now we're done. We're now quantum reality, where shit does weird things in probabilistic ways that are predictable because of the stochastic process. It's just like how all the processes in your body, in your cells, for instance, all the physical processes of getting nutrients and extracting them from molecules and all that sort of stuff happening inside of your cells is happening because there are so many random chemical processes occurring all at once and the system is designed so that a majority of them cause this effect. But some of them don't, but a majority do. And that's what a stochastic process is. It's probabilistic in nature. Concept number 1. Concept number 2, to begin addressing the nature of diseases in the body, is this concept of how we derive our personal experience of reality. All right, so here you are. You're driving, you're hungry, and you're going to Wiener Schnitzel. And you experience the car, you can see it in your head, steering wheel, you feel the heat of the steering wheel come radiating through the windshield. You have your air conditioner up and you're listening to the sounds of the road and the commercial on the radio, and you're beginning to smell the Wiener Schnitzel as you approach it, mixed in with the car exhaust of the road and all of that stuff, all of this sensory experience that constitutes our daily conscious awareness of reality. We have this occurring to us all the time unless we're asleep, and even then something is happening inside of our brain. What's happening? We want to believe that we are experiencing an objective reality. It looks like we are experiencing an objective reality that is outside of our senses, entering into our senses, and is being displayed like we're looking through a window onto the world. But that's not what's happening inside the brain, the physical brain. And that is what is creating your experience. The experience of you and your surroundings and your enclosed environment of reality, your experience of reality, is being reconstructed inside of your brain with neurochemicals that are activating as a response to sensory input that's stimulating your nervous system. Okay. So Excuse me. What that means is that you are functionally hallucinating reality at any given time inside your brain. You're not seeing reality. You're not looking out a window. You are reconstructing an experience that's correlative to your sensory input. You're recreating that experience inside the simulator of your brain. The world is a simulation. It's inside your brain. So you have this inside your brain, that hallucination of reality occurring. And it's very real and it looks great. It's very high resolution. Whether or not there is an objective reality beyond that sensory input is one of the primary questions of philosophy, which Descartes began to address. I think, therefore, I am. Is there anything beyond that can be demonstrable? We don't know. We don't know. We can't really know, because all we can really know is our own hallucination of reality. And we don't actually know what's beyond that. It could be anything. We could be little brains in a jar. We could be we could be a mind isolated somewhere and being tricked by a demon, which is what Descartes thought. It was the example that he gave. Being tricked by a little demon into believing in your reality. We don't know what it is. We don't know what is out there. That is the point at which our belief has to be suspended, because we can't know. We can only be agnostic about the nature of objective reality, but we do know that we have an internal reality that is hallucinated and constructed out of our sensory input, whatever that is. And in that hallucination, let's now look at reality around us. Let's just take a moment and look around. I have all this junk, my music junk. I'm imagining that I'm seeing my mixing board over here and my Maggie Rogers album up on the shelf. And I'm seeing that inside of my mind. And I am looking down at my own body and feeling and sensing the experience of my own body. I am embodying myself, bringing my conscious awareness to my body. That body is also being reconstructed in the mind. What you feel as your body right now is a reconstruction in your mind. It's a model that your mind has designed in order to help it understand and navigate its way through the sensory experience. Which means that because your experience of your own body is primarily mental, hallucinatory in nature, whatever other correlative assumptions and functions that are happening in the psyche can have corresponding effect on the body to the degree, whatever limits there are, that the mind can govern the state of the body at any given moment. And we don't necessarily know that, what it is. There are a lot of questions out there. There's a lot of science and debates and all that sort of stuff. Placebo effects, and does manifestation work, and theta waves and all that sort of stuff. But our experience of ourselves, of our body, of our own physicality, our embodied sense is a hallucination in the mind still. Fundamentally, primarily. It's very strange to think about. And there is in Western magical operations, like a ceremony, traditions like Hermeticism and the Golden Dawn, the systems that were used, they utilize a certain technique in imagining the Kabbalic cross. As you meditate upon the cross, to imagine that the physical body, close your eyes and imagine the physical body where you are, and now begin to imagine that body is expanding in the room. Imagine yourself expanding. You begin to grow in size, multiple times your own size. You're as large as the room now. This is your astral body beginning to grow. You can look down and see your own body, but your astral body is growing. Past the room now, growing to be the size of the house. You look down and see the world is smaller around you. Keep growing, and your body grows to see the land masses around you, the city beneath you. You're growing through the atmosphere. You begin to see the earth below you. You can see the other planets shining across the inky blackness of space. You begin to grow and grow to the point that you can see the totality of the galaxy in front of you. Same difference. The galactic galaxy, governments. You get what I'm trying to say here. The galaxy. You are now the size of a galaxy. Keep expanding outward to galactic clusters. You're the shape and size of the Virgo supercluster, which contains the Milky Way. 600 billion galaxies, something like that. Some insane number of galaxies in the universe. You are the same size now. Now imagine that you contain the entirety of this cosmos. This is the sensation now of the mind encapsulating all of reality inside of it, containing all of reality inside of it. Rather than the mind being contained in reality or being a part of reality, in this exercise of the mind becomes the enclosure, which is the truth of the hallucination that you are now experiencing of reality through sensations, activating your nervous system, and creating an image, a model of it, in three-dimensional space, in your brain. We have to become familiar with shadow work for this reason. Because shadow work is how to examine aspects of the self that want to remain hidden from the conscious mind, aspects of the self that we don't want to look at, in order to see whether those states are being mapped out onto the mental body and causing us problems, which can happen. And I'm not saying that that's happening to you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a possibility. Because there is an ethical concern here. If people are causing their own diseases, that doesn't mean that we can dismiss them or not treat them in the traditional Western medical way. So if there is a possibility that this is working, we need to remain skeptical about it. As a matter of ethics, we have to remain skeptical about anything in any of this, in any discussion of the esoteric, in any discussion of the occult or the astrological. Even in the human world, for God's sakes, we should have skepticism about ideologies that we withhold, the ways that we look at ourselves, the ways that we view the world, our opinions about how things should work. Even science itself is subject to skepticism, and that is how science evolves in the first place. This is a sort of overview, conceptualization of how we might be able to come from a skeptical space that doesn't believe or want to believe or just doesn't believe that some weird higher aspect of things can have an effect upon ourselves, our personal selves. And that's really what it is. It's about moving from that to the possibility that something else is, and being okay with it, and then being able to utilize whatever techniques are available. I can't get my hands here because it's inverting. It's like this thing is inverting the direction I'm moving. For me, this is left, right? And then I'm looking at myself in the screen and trying to do this. All right, so how we can then begin to utilize these techniques of prayer, manifestation, meditation, astrology, tarot, shadow work, human design, whatever crazy nonsense is out there, crystals, herbs, whatever the hell finally gets you free of something and actually works and sets you on a course towards some better, greater evolution of the self. That to me is what the spiritual world is about. It's about finding ways to evolve that are just outside of this. It's just outside of this. That's really it. My North Node and Saturn are conjunct in Virgo in my 12th house. 12th house is about spirituality, and Virgo is very practical and pragmatic. So I am very pragmatic about these matters. I do not see any necessity in having to believe them. But it does help to kind of open up to the possibility of them so that we can use them with a more open mindset, which seems to help activate them more. Okay? In a practical sense. It's just about how to what is it that actually works, and taking note of what works. And this is part of a regular daily esoteric spiritual practice. A little healthy dose of skepticism. I'm like the little fairy grandmother. Ding. All right. That's all I've got today on that concept. I hope I made the ethical concerns clear enough. It troubles me when you start to think of diseases and those sort of things as having some spiritual origin. Because in this sort of Judeo-Christian informed world, it's as though we have sinned and earned our penance. But it's not like that. It's just that you have had perhaps traumatic experiences in the past that are imprinted onto your psyche, and then those begin to be imprinted upon parts of the body that were associated with those traumas, and then it starts to place expected outcomes, expected behaviors, expected results in the body, correlating results in the body. You know? If that doesn't make any sense, tune in next time to the Lady Nora Madonna show. Thank you.